Inside the courtroom, facts matter. But when misinformation spreads outside the courtroom, we've now learned it can change everything. But how far can these lies really carry those who speak them? Can lies rewrite history, erase evidence? Can they change reality? How many times must a lie be spoken for reality to twist to its will? If not the first 100,000, maybe the next. How many blogs, social media posts, fundraisers, puff piece articles, and glossy magazine photo shoots does it take to make a sin as large as taking a human life just disappear? Or maybe these lies are not actually what is keeping Karen Reed and Turtle Boy afloat at all. Maybe social media, fame, and fortune were just the lures attached to a big, shiny hook all along, tethered to a weighty anchor hiding just below the surface. Karen Reed's first trial ended in a mistrial after the jury finally reported that it was hopelessly deadlocked after 5 grueling days of deliberations.
We continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. Some members of the jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof, establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charges. The deep division is not due to a lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs. I'm not going to do that to you folks. Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial in this case.
And as John O'Keefe's family wiped away tears in the courtroom, Karen and her attorneys emerged outside, smiling and celebrating a win that wasn't even really a win at all.
They failed. They failed miserably, and they'll continue to fail. No matter how long it takes, no matter how long they keep trying, we will not stop fighting.
But if a mistrial is a failure to convict on the part of the prosecution, it is also a failure to acquit on the part of the defense. All the lives that have been ruined, the money that has been spent, the suffering of the victim's family, and the time and, of course, money of her often unappreciated supporters did nothing but buy Karen Reed a few more months of living in limbo. I imagine the reason why many retrials secure the conviction that eluded the first comes down to what we see happening in this case. The prosecutor has the benefit of knowing what did and did not work the first time around. Armed with the addition of Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan and a laser focus on the simple facts of this case, the prosecution is zeroing in on the immovable truth that Karen Reed struck John O'Keefe with her vehicle while drunk and left him to die in the snow.
When Miss Reed knew that she struck John O'Keefe is a critical issue in this case. Miss Reed calls her father and her mother a little after 1 o'clock on the night she struck and killed John O'Keefe. The inference that a 40-something-year-old woman is calling her parents at 1:30 in the morning after this tumultuous event, the inference is strong evidence that Miss Reed knew she had done something terrible. She knew she had struck John O'Keefe, and she knew that she had left him behind.
While the prosecution team narrows and refines its case, Karen Reed is stuck with hers. Her lies, constructed to implicate others, are disintegrating like dust in the wind, their foundations crumbling with each passing revelation. The Commonwealth has gone to Vermont, where the homeowner's then-pet dog, Chloe, now resides, and has taken impressions of her bite. Given the absence of any canine DNA on John O'Keefe's right sweatshirt sleeve, it is safe to assume that the impressions will not match the injuries observed on his arm at all, providing the final blow to an already completely unsupported defense theory. The only support Karen has left in this is Dr. Marie Russell, a retired emergency room doctor who was demoted in 2014 from her position as medical director for the LA County Jail due to her unsatisfactory job performance.
I want you to share some of this wealth of experience out in dog bites. And share with us, if you will, one of the cases where there was no information that it was a dog bite for whatever reason, and then you, based on your pattern recognition skills, determined there was a dog bite. I want you to walk through an actual case that you can recall you had with this scenario you presented.
I can't give you a specific case. I am an expert in emergency orthopedics, I believe.
So you have decided that you are an expert in orthopedics?
Emergency orthopedics.
Emergency orthopedics, is that a specialty that you get a fellowship in, or somehow you are deemed an expert in any way?
It's not a specialty that has a fellowship that I'm aware of.
Are you an expert in orthopedics?
The whole field of orthopedics, no.
And you don't have any specialized degrees in orthopedics, do you?
No.
Have you ever been in any court, state, federal, this country, any other country, where you've been qualified as an expert in orthopedics?
No.
Has any authority ever recognized you and qualified you as an expert in orthopedics?
No.
And when you see the different people that come in with overdoses, whether it's alcohol or drugs, you treat them, don't you?
Yes.
But you're not an expert toxicologist, are you?
No, I am not an expert in toxicology.
Without any clear focused expertise and unclear methodology, it is unlikely that Dr. Russell's opinion, if allowed in for the second trial, will move the needle for a jury against all the clear and convincing evidence amassed to the contrary. There are no dog bites on John O'Keefe's arm. They are abrasions caused by friction with a blunt object, a vehicle, or the ground. And that 2:27 a.m. Google search for "How long to die in the cold" attributed to Jen McCabe, it has been thoroughly debunked. Not only by Commonwealth experts in the first trial, but by Karen Reed's own expert as well.
Yes or no, are you aware that Celebrite has had to modify their software based on misinterpretation of data, as you've done in this case?
Yes, with Asterisk, they updated one of two programs.
In the time since the last trial, Celebrite has updated its software, and the faulty timestamp no longer shows up when analyzing extractions. Ian Whiffen has authored a white paper acknowledging the mistaken timestamps and the misinterpretation it had caused. The search didn't take place at 2:27 a.m. as the defense tried to push, but instead after 6:20 a.m. when Karen Reed asked for it to be done, just as Jen McCabe testified.
She was screaming, "Google hypothermia, how long does it take to die in the cold?" And I picked up my phone and I started Googling.
This is no longer an item up for interpretation or argument, and not one expert can truthfully testify to it any longer. Because in the most up-to-date version of the Celebrite software, this supposed 2:27 a.m. search does not exist. It was simply a quirk in the older software that defense expert Richard Green exploited to create the illusion of data that would incriminate Jen McCabe. But this illusion had an expiration date that has since passed. As Karen Reed's defense continues to crumble, the prosecution grows stronger with each passing day. Forensic testing on Reed's Lexus has been revisited, uncovering crucial data from the vehicle that was previously inaccessible, thanks to a recent update to Burla software. To further solidify the case, the Commonwealth has enlisted James Crosby, a globally recognized expert in veterinary forensics, to debunk the dog bite theory once and for all. Dr. Crosby, an internationally respected authority and court-admitted expert on canine attacks and aggression, holds a Master of Science in Veterinary Forensics and a PhD in Veterinary Medical Science, both from the University of Florida's College of Veterinary Medicine. His credentials far surpass those of Dr. Marie Russell, making him an undeniable authority on the subject. Dr. Crosby's specialty is investigating dog bite-related fatalities, especially evidentiary and behavioral factors involved in these deaths. His on-scene investigation of over 30 fatalities and post-attack evaluation of over 50 subject dogs has been essential in numerous prosecutions. The Karen Reed case is far from his first case regarding dog bites, unlike Dr. Russell. To address the evident shortcomings in Trooper Paul's testimony concerning the pedestrian collision and the resulting injuries, the Commonwealth has enlisted Dr. Judson B. Welcher, Vice President of Aperture, LLC. Dr. Welcher brings extensive expertise, holding a PhD in biomedical engineering from the University of Southern California, as well as numerous professional certifications and affiliations. Karen Reed's supporters continue to fixate on who retained ARCA, but it simply doesn't matter. All that matters is the data, the reports, and the testimony. The Commonwealth has also sought the expertise of Colleen Crawford, the multimedia director for the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office and a certified forensic video technician. Ms. Crawford will presumably quell any lingering suspicion over the inverted surveillance video from the Canton Police Department's Sallyport, a clearly innocuous occurrence that amounts to literally nothing, but has inexplicably become a talking point amongst Karen Reed's most ardent supporters. Meanwhile, despite prosecutor Hank Brennan's meticulous efforts to secure a conviction, Karen Reed's team appears focused on little more than soliciting additional funds from supporters and fueling a climate of hatred, fear, and paranoia within their ranks.
Movement I have risked my life for, my family for, my reputation and my fucking town for, my friendships for. I stood on the fucking sidewalk for a year to stand for Karen Reed.
We are peace-loving supporters for Karen Reed, an innocent woman that was framed for justice.
But I'm gonna tell you, Karen, right? This is the time, right? You gotta give back and get off the fence, right? Stop playing the fucking games. It's time to come clean. We've gone too fucking long with this little charade. But I'm gonna support John O'Keefe because that's the only person that has been lost in this whole shuffle. No one's talking about him on your side, Karen.
Karen Reed's defense has focused less on the facts and evidence, much of which points to her involvement, and more on rallying the support of her dedicated followers. Their unwavering efforts have driven much of the media attention surrounding her case and have been instrumental in funding her legal defense through fundraising campaigns, donations, and merchandise sales. But for as much as Karen's supporters care about her well-being, she does not care for theirs at all. In November 2024, Reed and her family hosted an exclusive fundraising event at the Fall River Country Club, extending invitations only to her wealthiest and most generous backers, along with YouTube personalities who have tirelessly promoted her conspiracy narrative over the past 2 years. Notably absent were her less wealthy supporters, most of whom did all of the legwork protesting, organizing, and attracting media attention for Karen. This snub did not go unnoticed.
Not gonna lie, a little disappointed to see a lot of regulars apparently aren't here because of, apparently, I don't know, this was such a big deal. A lot of people are really mad about the dinner, the meal of food from Saturday, and they're not coming anymore. That's what they say, they're not coming anymore. They no longer support the movement, and because they're taking the ball and they're going home about a limited seating event that the family threw as a fundraiser. Like, what?
Karen never reached out to anyone to apologize or express her gratitude or otherwise show these people any appreciation. She simply sent Turtle Boy, who all of her supporters know is her mouthpiece, to belittle and shame anyone who expressed any hurt over being so blatantly excluded. This incident was not the most troubling example of Karen Reed's indifference toward her supporters. Shortly after the controversy surrounding the private event, a prominent female supporter tried to bring a deeply concerning issue to Karen's attention. A male member of the Reed family had been sexually harassing female supporters of the Free Karen Reed movement. Karen chose to ignore the woman's warning entirely. Unable to get a response from Karen directly, the supporter turned to Turtle Boy with her concerns. Turtle Boy relayed the issue to Karen, making them both fully aware of the situation. Instead of addressing the problem, they worked together to sweep it under the rug, concealing the potential danger to female supporters from public view. The woman who bravely spoke out against the sexual harassment faced relentless backlash. She was mocked, tormented, and ultimately ousted from the movement, with the intense public shaming leading to her hospitalization. Notably, the harassment she endured closely mirrored the intimidation and abuse faced by nearly every state witness against Karen Read. This pattern of behavior has come to define the Karen Read way.
I've known she was a nutjob for a while.
Shut the fuck up, you little chauvinistic, motherfucking egotistical little prick.
So she really wants Karen Read to know I'm the one that... It wasn't Aiden that brought this to your attention. I brought it to Aiden's attention, and he brought it to your attention. Fuck you. That's what I'm saying. Like, fuck her. I hate her. Like, I truly fucking hate this woman with every ounce of my being. People who who poo-poo, like, some of us actually like being around our kids and don't fucking sit on Twitter all day acting like fucking nut jobs like you do. You know, I do it for work. What's your excuse?
This pattern of mistreatment has noticeably diminished Karen Read's support, and rightfully so. She and Turtle Boy have fostered an environment where supporters are valued only for their time, effort, and financial contributions, while being subjected to sexual exploitation, harassment, and ultimately abuse if they dare to challenge the group's agenda. Legitimate social justice movements prioritize the rights and well-being of all individuals. This, however, is not one of them. It is a group designed solely to serve the interests of Karen Read and Turtle Boy, with no regard for anyone else. To them, everyone is expendable. This is just the tip of the iceberg that Karen Read is hurtling toward. While some of her followers remain convinced, many are beginning to see the truth. The case against her continues to grow stronger, leaving her with nowhere to turn. While I've outlined the peril she faces in her murder case, the larger issues looming in her other legal battles will be the focus of the next video. Many people are fully aware of your involvement, Karen, in the harassment and intimidation of witnesses, as well as the countless lies you've told. I'll speak directly to you because I know you wake up every day, search your name, and spend your hours consumed by fear and hatred toward those of us who stand against your deceit. We will not stop standing. You cannot buy your way out of this one. You've brought this torment upon yourself, and you deserve every bit of it. You should be worried about what's in Turtle Boy's phone, who's talking to the police, and just how much they've shared. You should be concerned about the stories your Lexus SUV could tell, and how much longer you can maintain this charade. You are a liar, surrounded by others who are equally deceitful. The consequences of your actions will be catastrophic for you. Massachusetts is a small state, Karen. People talk. I know what you've done. To John, your supporters, to other people's marriages and families. You don't care because you'll never understand what real love and loyalty feel like. I see the pain you've caused, and I know you'll continue until the justice system finally stops you. And it will.
Some people go to church just to signify, trying to make a date with a neighbor's wife. Brother, let me tell you, just as sure as you're born, you better leave that woman alone. Go tell that lonesome liar, go tell that midnight rider, tell the gambling, rambling, backslider, tell the God Almighty gonna curb him down. You might run on for a long time, run on.
If you like what we are doing and want to contribute financially to the channel, the best way is by buying us a coffee. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/massholemedia and chip in to buy us coffee. It really helps with the late nights we spend scripting, editing, and producing these videos. If not, you could always give us a like and share the content to help the algorithm notice us.